as you can probably tell by now, I like to have fun. I like to take the piss. I like to tell jokes, whether they're on myself or other people. It's never malicious. It's never to hurt. It's never with an evil intent behind it. It is purely for a laugh, banter, have a joke, take the piss. Whichever way you want to phrase it, that's just me all over. That's exactly why I made the ebook. So the ebook largely revolves around taking the piss out of the stereotypical bodybuilder that you find in gyms, how they are in the gym and how they are outside of the gym. The reason why I managed to make an ebook on it is because a lot of these points rang true for me once upon a time, especially when I first got into the sport. I was this wanker. I let it consume my personality. I let it dictate my entire life, and I don't regret it, but I've learned from it that you can still act like a bodybuilder in the sense that you can eat well, you can eat the right things, you can train hard, you can develop your physique, whether you want to bulk or cut. The lessons learned during bodybuilding will always run true. You want to build muscle, you do it in a bodybuilding type of way, where you eat in a calorie surplus, but you eat in the right foods, the clean foods, enough protein, enough rest, and train fucking hard. And the ethos of training isn't to lift as heavy as you can, it's to stress the muscle as much as possible during that frame of time. Equally, you don't need to train for a long time in order to do that. These are things that I've learned along the way. The same with dieting. A bodybuilding style diet to lose body fat, to keep all your muscles, is exactly the way to go, because you lose body fat and keep all your muscle. So there's a lot of good in the realms of bodybuilding. But there's also a lot of annoying people in the realms of bodybuilding. That's why I still compete. I still love the competition aspect. I still love the challenge of getting into stage shape. I love the challenge of a long off season of trying to build as much muscle as possible. I love the challenge of dieting and losing body fat and posing and creating routines and just controlling everything about your life in order to complete a goal. I love that challenge. What I don't love are the things that are in the ebook. So I am going to talk about them in a bit more detail. More on a concept of, I'm going to tell you what inspired some of these. Some of them will be pretty painfully obvious. Some of them might not be. So I'm just going to say the title of each chapter, basically. The first one is 50 million gym hours. Everybody outside of bodybuilding thinks that you have to spend a lot of time in the gym, or that you love spending all your time in the gym. That's not the case. It's far from it, in fact. There's 24 hours in a day. The most amount of time I've ever spent in the gym in any one go, when I'm in prep and my cardio is at its longest, would be 2 hours. And most of that would be cardio and posing. The weight training side of it wouldn't even be 50% of that time. Most of my gym sessions take less than an hour. 45 minutes really is the sweet spot. Legs would take closer to an hour just because it takes a bit longer to warm them up. But generally speaking, at the minute I'm in maintenance and I'm doing 30 minutes cardio post-workout. So I'm in the gym an hour and 15 minutes, 4 times a week. In the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot. So I used to spend way more time on the gym floor, but I was training in a very insufficient way where I would do 3-4 working sets on every exercise. Now I'm doing 1 or 2 because I'm getting much more intensity in my workout compared to volume. Number 2, being scared of food. Now I think that it's no secret that a lot of eating disorders are revolved around bodybuilding. People tend to be fearful of foods. Now, when you're in a diet phase, of course you're not going to be eating cake. It's just not going to happen. That's not even going to be a good idea for any point. But when you are in your off season and you are looking to bulk up and you are controlling your food for 80% of the time, you can't be scared to go out and enjoy yourself. You can't be scared to take the kids out to McDonald's. You can't be scared to take the missus out for a meal. put it this way, all of my male clients are on 6 meals a day. So that's 42 meals a week. If 40 of them are on plan and 2 aren't, that's not a problem. But if obviously 22 of them weren't, then we've got an issue. That's generally speaking how I would combat people's fear of foods. The most tricky part is after a long diet phase. That's when you have to be really sensible with the food you consume, otherwise you could make a lot of negative headway into your process afterwards, in the fact that yes, you lost the body fat, yes, you're looking good, but just because you've got down there doesn't mean you can stay there by reverting back to your old way of doing things. You need to carry on doing the things you were doing in a systematic way while slowly increasing the calories. But again, that's a bridge to cross if we ever work together. Number 3, being a boring cunt. I was this guy. It gets to the stage now where I actually apologise to people if I start talking about bodybuilding in depth. If people ask me a question, I'll be more than happy to answer it, but that's if they ask me first. Where back in the day, I was fucking boring, man. It was my whole personality, as I said before. It'd be painfully obvious who I was. And so I just wouldn't really have much of a social life because I'd feel like I wouldn't or shouldn't do that because it could jeopardize what I thought would be the best way to develop my physique. That's a regret. That's something that I definitely missed out on occasions, definitely social occasions, big occasions for friends and family because of it. And it's something that I do not encourage people to do. So much so that when I prepped last year, I didn't miss out on anything and still finished either first or second in every show that I did. Equally, the year before, I went to 8 weddings that year and did 2 preps. So you can do it, you can enjoy yourself, you can be present, you can definitely still have a social life. Just don't be fucking boring about it. Like, yes, if you are dieting, you just can't have the food that could be there. You might have to take your own food. And that's not that deep because you're not there for food, you're there for the people. And if you're bulking, just fucking go and enjoy yourself. Like I said earlier, if you're having 42 meals, 2 of them are off plan and 1 of them is when you're out doing something socially, enjoy yourself. It's not an issue. People take this as like life or death and it's just way too much. Number 4, prep can do one. I don't want to prep any clients. I do not want to put a client through a bodybuilding prep. A diet phase is similar to bodybuilding prep, but we don't go to the extremes for the last like 4, 5, 6 weeks that prep is. Just because I don't want to work with somebody who wants to compete. I have no interest in that as a coach. I like doing it personally for myself, but if I was to do a prep, like I'm thinking of doing at some point next year, I'd get a prep coach. I'm not a prep coach. But I list multiple reasons as to why prep itself is difficult. For example, some of the things that you will never experience working with me because you're never going to do a full prep. You're never going to, well, okay, let me read one of the extracts. You have a strong temptation to piss the bed. You don't sleep at the end of a prep because you're fucking starving. You also can't get comfortable because of the low level of body fat. But when you do finally sleep and are in somewhat comfortable position, do you know what you need to do? Piss. You really consider just not moving. In that exact moment, moving isn't a favourable option. You do consider pissing the bed. Why would you want to do that? I don't want my clients to feel like that. I don't want them to feel the need to want to piss the bed. That's just one of many reasons as to why prep can do one. Number 5 is similar to number 3, being boring, and then number 5 is having no social life. Again, for the same reasons. I used to have just can't be asked for something because I wouldn't go out on a Friday night because I'll train legs on a Saturday. That's as simple as that. That's the kind of like I never went out on a Friday night. I could have easily gone to a pub and just not drank if I didn't want to drink because I didn't want to feel like shit the next day, but I could have gone out, but I didn't. And that's the kind of thing that I would just not do. And they're the kind of little things that I do regret because I did miss out on some great things. Number 6, a narcissistic vain wanker. That was me. Openly admit it. Openly admit it. And I think a lot of guys who, when they first, especially younger guys, when they first start off in the gym, they do look at themselves a lot in the mirrors. They check their pumps out halfway through a session. They get their abs out to look in the mirror. They're starting to see changes, which is great because it means they're doing something right. But yeah, you do come across as very vain, and that was me. That's why I can take the piss out of this one. Number 7, steroids. Again, I have clients who are on steroids and clients who aren't on steroids. Completely their choice. Completely their choice. I will never, ever push anybody to use steroids. Equally, I've had clients who are on or have been on cycle when I've taken them over and I've made them reduce what they've taken, because I'm very much on the ethos, you get the most from the least. You don't need to take a lot to get a long way. And if you see it as a tool that can just help with your recovery, that will never outweigh training hard, eating right, resting properly. Those 3 things will be fundamentally more important than any steroid choice. But if you can nail those 3 things and introduce steroids, you're going to develop a great physique. Even when dieting, they do have their place, of course. But again, I would never ever push anybody to do it. Completely their choice. And if it is their choice, I'll make sure they're guided in the right, safe way. Number 8, so you might have seen this already on my socials. Dumb meathead science guy. It seems recently there is 2 types of stereotypical gym goers nowadays. You've got the science-based lifters who have to get a fucking protractor out to make sure everything's absolutely perfect before they execute an exercise. And you've got the meatheads who just ego lift. And that was me. I was an ego lifter. I had no business lifting up some of the weights. I had no business even attempted it because the form was terrible. I just thought, I'll just move the weight from A to B and I'll make the muscles grow. No, it doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. Form, technique is the most important thing. Fundamentally the most important thing. And then you need sufficient load in order to grow. So you can even argue that from one extreme you've got the meathead and the other extreme you've got the science guy. If you can meet these both in the middle perfectly, that's the best avenue to take to grow muscle. Yes, you have to be smart about your workouts. No, you don't need to get a fucking compass out. Yes, you need to lift weight in order to stress the muscle in order to grow, but no, you can't be jumping up weights too quickly thinking that just because you can lift it doesn't mean you're lifting it right. Number 9, insecure, weak-minded bitch. Now, this is a stereotype that you get these big gym guys who really just give small dick energy, basically. I'm pretty confident in saying I wasn't weak-minded, not because of, well, I don't think I've ever been weak-minded. You've seen a previous video of me opening up about mental health and the struggles I had with that. I don't think that makes you weak by having things thrown at you in life that causes your mental health to change for the worse for a period of time. So I don't think I was weak-minded in that place, but insecure, definitely. 100%. I think it's very natural for people to be insecure. I think to an extent I probably am a little bit insecure now, which is, it could sound surprising because people see my physique and I do get compliments, and I just don't see it. I don't see it, and maybe it's I don't think it's insecurity because I know it's ironic because I did say earlier that I was an arrogant, narcissistic, vain wanker. I was, but then the bigger you are, the more insecure you get a little bit. As you can see, like I'm wearing, most of the time I wear baggy stuff. When I just go out and about outside of the gym, I try not to wear clothes that are attention seeking because I don't like the attention. I really don't like strangers coming up to me and like squeezing my arms or talking at me about like how much I bench or what do I eat to look like me. It's just, I find it a little bit uncomfortable. I think that's the best way to describe it, which makes me a bit insecure because then I try not to garner the attention. And it does happen, and if someone comes up to me in a nice, respectful way, then that's all well and good, but sometimes it's not like that. So I think my insecurity comes from not wanting the attention, which is ironic because, as I said earlier, I was the opposite of that when I was younger. And number 10, the last one, about as hard as a cocaine boner. Again, you've seen people who go to the gym and they're putting on a bit of size and they think they can just be a bully with it. They think they're the fucking nails. They think they're the hardest cunt in the room. But really they're not. It's quite embarrassing. But it's usually those guys with the loud ones in the gym, like screaming all the time, doing the reps as heavy as possible, and like the look at me attention that they want, because they think that feeds their ego and makes them even harder. It doesn't, and I hate being in gyms like that. I hate being around people like that. I personally just want to get into the gym, train, leave. I don't want to be around any of these anymore. I love training. I love pushing myself to the limit. I love progressing. I do love seeing my physique change, because even now, obviously my physique changes. It's not going to change as quickly as somebody who first starts off, but it does change. And because I know what I'm doing, because I know how to train hard, because I know how to stay on plan and eat well and do a proper off-season and a proper diet, at the end of a diet phase, I like seeing how my physique looks. So I can compare it to the last time I was that body weight or that body fat percentage. And I can see the gains I've made. And it's nice, it's satisfying, because you know you've been doing something right for a prolonged period of time, and you've got tangible evidence to prove that you've done everything perfect. And it's greatly satisfying. You get gratification from it. So I feel like people tend to not be patient enough to find out that for themselves, because bodybuilding is a sport for as long as you want to do it. I say sport because there is things in play to obviously make it a sport, but when it comes to going to the gym and developing physique, again, that's as long as you want it for. If you get to a stage that you're happy with how you look, you go into a maintenance, you still have to find a way to be in maintenance that suits your lifestyle. So if you wanted to go out every Friday night, you need to make sacrifices Saturday through to Thursday in order to do that. You still need to train hard, you still need to do some cardio, just to maintain how you are, because if you go to doing nothing and then introducing a different lifestyle, you're not going to be in maintenance for long. It's going to quickly go, and then you'll go back to where you was doing before to get you back in the original shape. So, I've been speaking also, at the end of my ebook, it's a challenge, it's also a bit of an insight, and it's also a tip on how to revolutionize your training. It's a Loom video that gets sent out to you straight, I think it's like 12 hours after the initial email of the ebook is sent to you. And I go through meticulous detail on how to train in general, but I've made it specifically about doing a chest session. So if you are interested in the ebook, the link is in the description. It's also in my bio on my Insta. Listen to the ebook, watch the ebook, read the ebook, whichever which way you want to do it. And then you'll see another email the next day telling you exactly how to train. And like I say, I break it down meticulously. It's only 5 exercises. I think it works out as 9 working sets overall. I explain to you exactly how to warm up on the first exercise, exactly what exercises to do, rep ranges, and how to do it properly. Because if you can nail that, you can take that ethos into every single exercise that you do for every single muscle. So it could be broken down to your entire back session, your entire leg session, your entire arms and shoulders and stuff like that. You can do it, it applies to everything. So if you are interested, the ebook is, like I say, in the description. The link's in my bio on Insta. And just let me know when you do the new chest session challenge, how it goes. Be very interested to see if it works for you. If it does work for you, then that's brilliant, and that's something that you've learned, and that's that makes the work that I've put in creating this all worth it. So again, if you're interested, you know what to do.